What a special day. The EK9 is back from the paint shop. And it's only taken, well, it's taken a few months, I guess, but it's back in the new home. This very fancy little black mat that we've got here for it. And it will stay here mostly until it's finished. But so before we get into it, there's a couple of things that we really just, had some work done. There was a scratch back here on the quarter panel. We had that fixed. Went ahead and had the side skirts all repainted. We had the wheel wells, so like all in here, all of this stuff got painted, cleaned. The whole front, before it was all, chipped up and rusted and used and stuff like that. So we had all that resprayed. Again, the whole panel all the way up into the door jamb, that all got painted. Underside of the hood, this is all fresh. This is all repainted. And the bay. So lots of good stuff happening in here. And really the next steps for this car are gonna be for me to build out a little frame. So I'm gonna build out a little wooden frame with casters that I can put in the middle of the car to support the weight of it while I pull all the suspension off, the subframe, control arms, brakes, everything. I'm gonna pull all of it off. Everything's getting rebuilt, refinished. I've got all new hardware, new coilovers, new brakes, everything. So everything on this car is going to be tip top and it's going to be brand new. And I just don't want it to have to live here on jack stands indefinitely. So I've got some 2x4s, I've got some big casters. Cody and I are going to build out a big frame. That way the car can sit on it. And if we need to, we can roll it across the shop. And I can put it on the lift. So we got the EM1 on the lift, FK8s hanging out over there. But this should be fine. It's not like we're gonna be rolling this thing down a hill or something, but it'll be strong enough to hold the car, be strong enough for it to sit on it if we need to move it around, which is really all it needs to do. And then while I'm not using it, obviously it'll sit on jack stands. So, but yeah, I think that's where we're going to start. And once I get all the suspension and stuff pulled off of it, then I'm going to go ahead and redo all the wheel wells, scrape it all. We still have a little bit of surface rust that we need to fix. And yeah, then it'll just be a matter of getting the suspension pulled apart, taken, to the blaster, get everything coated, and then we'll start putting it back together. But that's going to be a pretty long process. Which I don't know how long that's going to take, but we will start. So let's get to it. So we've got the wooden frame under the car, and the casters are all on it. Might have to reinforce the bottom because it seems like it's a little wobbly, but for the most part, this is exactly what I wanted, because I'm about to pull all of the suspension off of this thing, and that way, now that it's on this little platform, we can roll it around the shop. But yeah, and there's definitely some little spots of rust here and there that I need to take care of. I mean, it's nothing super terrible, but definitely stuff that we want to fix. So I'm gonna try to get this as clean as possible and coat all this stuff. So it's been a few days since we started working on the EK9, and we got all the front suspension and stuff pulled off. And I think the next step is going to be get to the rear, pull the rear trailing arms and stuff off, and kind of keep going with it. So until it's done, we need to pull all this stuff off, and then at that point we can start cleaning out the wheel wells and stuff like that. So that's what I'll do. Alright, I've got the suspension, the rear trailing arms and stuff pulled off, and started hitting this kind of just with a little wire wheel, just seeing what I've got to work with. That's going to be the next step in this process. After I get the suspension and everything pulled apart, I'm going to come back under this car, and all of this stuff, let's see, like you can see the seam right in here, just got a little bit of, you know, surface rust. All this stuff up under here, I've kind of hit some of it with a wire wheel. You know, I'm gonna have to clean all that up. I'm going to paint and seal the underside of this car. Definitely, you know, like up in the front, it was kind of hard to see, but you know, these panels, you can see some of these little areas are starting to bubble, you know, but it's not terrible, but it definitely needs to be addressed before I keep going, because, you know, at the end of the day, I want this car to last. I don't want it to sit and rust, you know, over the next few years and then, you know, have to do all this stuff. So I don't, you know, while the car is apart, while I'm restoring it, I'm gonna address all this stuff. The gas tank, I don't really want to pull the gas tank out of this thing, but you know, it might happen, because this one's got a good dent, and this is probably from, like, you know, when it got shipped over here, somebody hit a forklift or stuck the forklift under it or something, I don't know. But yeah, all this stuff's getting resealed, repainted, sanded, refinished, and it's gonna be a ton of work. But hey, this car's, you know, I really want this car to be super good. So I think we're getting close, you know, and this is the fun part, right? The tedious part is when you've got boxes and, you know, you're trying to figure out where all the bolts go, and, you know, make sure the right bolt goes in the right spot and stuff like that. So, but anyway, so with this trailing arm pulled off, you know, I'm really glad we got these off, because straight up, all the bushings in this thing are toast. These bushings in these control arms are shot. I mean, these Function 7 arms are, I mean, a solid 10 years old at least. So they haven't held up that great. Same thing over here. This trailing arm bushing is shot. This thing has the factory toe arms and stuff on it, which are also shot. And this bushing, dude, just came apart. I mean, it's like totally just deteriorated in this thing. So, new control arms coming, obviously, and you know, all this old stuff. Some of this stuff is still good, like, you know, these lower control arms, these things like the ball joints and stuff look really good. The bushings are pretty good for being so old. I might keep those things around because the EM1, this thing, has and we haven't really done anything to the suspension on this car. It's got a bunch of eBay crap still on it, so I might pull whatever's good off the EK9, since everything is going to be new, and stick it on the EM1. That'd be cool. But so in the next video, we'll probably pull the suspension apart and get ready to sand, you know, wire wheel and clean up the chassis of this car. It's going to be a lot of work. Hopefully I can recruit some of the guys to help me do that. Wear a mask, board some goggles on, and go to town. But yeah, we still have a lot to do with this thing, so hopefully we'll try to update and make as many videos with this as we possibly can, because there's going to be a lot of stuff. And you know, if you're interested in the processes to take apart these kinds of cars and restore them, you know, follow along, because it's going to be a long process. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're into this sort of stuff, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.